It's Creative Katie, Karen Virgil. Welcome to my channel, Mixed Media Creations. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, and Pinterest. Do a search for Creative Katie and you're sure to find me. If you wish to support my channel, you can shop through my Amazon affiliate links or make a direct donation through my PayPal link. Both links can be found in the description box below. Thank you so much for your support. If you're not already a subscriber, take time to hit the subscribe button, click on the bell, select the option to be notified as soon as I upload a new video. Today we have a mixed media canvas. It should be called Try and Try Again, but it's called Lotus Blossom. So right off the bat, I have gessoed over a canvas that I already had paint on, and it just didn't go the way I wanted it to, so I just called it and put a coat of gesso on. Then I opened up my file folders and I pulled out some of these papers that have burgundy and navy. It's totally different than where I've been going lately. So I ripped them up, got off the straight edges, added some music paper, and I'm just gluing that down with gel medium matte finish. Kind of wrapping it around the edges to get the side of the canvas. Lately, as I've been getting ready to create art to hang in a coffee shop, that often plays with my mind. I want to have everything completely figured out ahead of time, and it just really stifles the creativity. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. I'm just going to put this down. I really had no idea where this was going. And like I said, this should be called Try and Try Again because I ended up redoing a lot of this. Of course, now I know how to do it simpler. Now these are die cuts that I cut with my Silhouette Cameo. These were used as stencil at a paint party, and I just decided I'm going to use them as a texture tool that I'm going to collage right onto this canvas. Now again, since I have no idea where this is going, I'm just trying to equidistantly space this, just so it looks pleasing to the eye. But I don't know where or what I'm going to be putting on top or what focal point. So if you have a die cut machine, you can cut your die cuts and use them as a texture element, or use your Silhouette Cameo or Cricut or whatever you have. So I'm just putting this down with gel medium. Now these die cuts had some iridescent medium on them, which, as I learned, becomes a resist. So that caused me a little bit of problems in getting paint to stay on it the same. So I mixed up some phthalo green and dioxazine purple, and that makes this navy. And I'm using quinacridone magenta as well. And I'm just putting those two colors, blending them together a little bit, working it into the texture of the die cuts and the texture of the papers. And I'm really loving these colors together. Interestingly enough, this is kind of my wardrobe. Navy and burgundy tend to be something that I wear a lot, but I haven't really done any art with it. So I'm just kind of working it into all the nooks and crannies. And like I said, some of the die cuts there, the scale die cut, had iridescent medium on it. So it was I had to come back several times to put another layer of paint, let it dry to get a good coverage. And I'm doing the sides. Now, if you're used to art journaling and you want to move into canvases, you need to know that when you work on canvases, the canvases give. As an intermediary, try working on canvas boards. They're a little bit more solid, or the cradled wood panel. Now I'm just adding some paint in. I'm thinning it a little bit and trying to get rid of some of the white. There's just a little too much white there for my liking. Then I realized, oops, I didn't get out stamp. I didn't do any stamping. I didn't do any stenciling. So I grabbed this stencil and I put this on with bronze. Because you have to have some shimmer. Then I grab my Coastal Escape stamp and I'm stamping with white. I also stamped with a circle stamp there in white as well. I wanted to lighten this up a little bit and add a little bit more interest. So I decided that maybe I'm going to do the lotus flowers. And I thought 3 lotus flowers on there. And if I do them with modeling paste in white, that should stand out from the black, dark background. And then because I liked the circles on my dragonfly canvas that I did recently, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do similar. I'm going to use the same technique to get that. So I take my circle templates and I come up with what I think looks good to me. Now I'm just tracing it with my white Stabilo all pencil. Links to any specialized materials will be in the description box, and you can go through my Amazon links. If you go through my door, my link, anything you buy, whether it's something I link to, I get a small commission. So thank you very much. So now I'm using the float technique with white. I decided that the dark wouldn't work, and I think if I was doing this again, I would put the dark on to make these pop. But at the time I thought, okay, I'm just going to do white. And like always, there's several times that I go over it, I let it dry, I add more over time. And I wish I could go that fast. Actually, I don't even film all the float technique because it's a rather lengthy process. And I just build it up till I'm happy. So now I get the Lotus Blossom stencil, and this is something I cut with my silhouette on the Crafters Workshop stencil blanks. And I'm putting white paint on underneath. I'm just putting that on. Kind of liking the look, and this should remind you of my word of the year where I did lily pads in these lotus blossoms. I tried and discovered a technique there where you bump the pattern, and I thought, oh, I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm just adding iridescent medium on top of this to give it that shimmer and shine. Now this background sat in my house for a while, and just something about it just wasn't quite right in my mind. And I keep fighting that this whole time I'm creating. It's like, I like it, but now I get out my light and fluffy modeling paste, and here I'm putting the stencil on and then bumping it and twisting it just a bit because I want to make this lotus blossom look a little bit more full and or fuller, and I want it to be 3D. So I made a mess there. So I actually took off the stencil and got all the texture paste off and am reapplying it. So if you act really quickly, you can do that. So you can see how I got my 3D kind of looking effect. So that's a trick you can try with various stencils and see what effect you get. I'm just going along and using the light and fluffy modeling paste. And I find that if I'm going up, I don't end up with the modeling paste underneath the stencil. There's those little bits that are cut out, and if I go down, they kind of flip up and I get the modeling paste under. So if I go this way, totally avoid that. So look at your stencil when you're deciding how you're going to put on the paste, because it does make a difference. I'm trying to be fairly smooth here. That being said, any imperfections can be attributed to what the flower would look like. If you look at petals in nature, none of them are, they're not all perfect and smooth and even and identical. So in between the application of this stencil for each of the lotus flowers, I'm letting it dry and I'm washing the stencil. I don't want any of that modeling paste to interfere with the application of more of it. So it sits for a few days and something was missing. And so I decided to bite the bullet, and I am giving a wash with the quinacridone magenta in these bubbles. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do these, the second largest ones, the three of them. So I'm going to do that just to see what it looks like. And, I'm liking it enough to continue on. Usually when I try something like that, I do a little bit of a sample off camera and then go on. This time I just went on right on camera and decided, oh, do I like it? And I'm going, yeah, I like it enough, but now these ones just stand out. I needed some more contrast. Something was just missing in my thinking. Now the quinacridone magenta is quite translucent, so it doesn't cover the background. It just is like a glaze on top. And I'm liking that effect. Right now I'm thinking, okay, the white around this is just a little too stark. I'm just never happy. And so I paint over those white lines, and then I grab my gold fine line bottle and I am going around it. Now, what I also did off camera is I rubbed gold paint on those textured parts. And so there was that little bit of gold, and it really brought out the texture, which I really didn't see before. So I was happy with that, and I thought, okay. And I'm putting on this fine line very sketchily. I don't want it to be perfect. I can't get it perfect. The circles are somewhat imperfect, so I'm just embracing that. I also painted out the circle behind the Lotus. Now I'm using the Shimmery Goodness, and I'm putting it through the stencil with the makeup sponge. And I chose that instead of the iridescent medium because now I've got so much gold on it, and the Shimmery Goodness has that little bit of warmth to it, but there wasn't quite enough, so I add gold paint to the Shimmery Goodness, which is something you can do. You can add any paint to the Shimmery Goodness. And I like that. It kind of toned everything down. So I go, okay. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe it was too stark white before. Then I come back and I'm using the float technique and a dry brush technique, and I'm getting gold on the lotus blossom even more. And I'm painting underneath. I had put white with the iridescent medium. Now that's really silver. So I'm kind of painting it from underneath. Understandably, if I was doing this again, I would paint it gold. Knowing what I know now, the colors, apparently I just needed to go gold, not the white and the silver. But if you liked it before, you could definitely go with the white and the silver. Then I decide just to bring everything together, I'm just going to do some splatters of thinned out gold paint. So you can see how I redid this till it matched the vision in my head. Here are some close-ups of the finished project. I really like it now. It just seems to work together. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Do you like the white better than the gold? Share this with your creative friends. And as always, give some part of this a try. Bye for now.